The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, fold enclosures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au. Welcome to the KRGS Doors podcast. I'm your host, Drew Blackman. The aim of our podcast is to talk to cool people with cool stories, whether it be our suppliers, customers, staff, other business owners, or people from different walks of life, and get to know them a bit better. If you're interested in coming on, drop us a line or email, or connect with us via Facebook, and we can have a chat to see what we can do. Today on episode 31 of the 18-month-old KRGS Doors podcast, I'm joined by KRGS Doors Managing Director Clayton Blackman and founder and owner of Double Tap agency Sammi Hardwick. With a background in marketing and working for some of Australia's largest companies, managed teams of like-minded marketing guns, but nothing was cutting it. She left her epic job to start Double Tap and hasn't looked back. Whether it's social media management, website design, influencer PR, or training in any or all of the above, Double Tap will tailor their services to meet your needs and give your business the digital platform it deserves. I will also let you in on our next episode's guest, but for now, please welcome to the podcast, Miss Sammi Hardwick.
If this doesn't turn you on, folks, you haven't got a switch.
Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today, Sammi. What is the Sammi Hardwick story?
Sammi Hardwick story is Northern Beaches girl, born and bred. Studied chiropractics, decided I didn't like it, moved to international business, decided that wasn't for me either, landed an epic job working for Woolworths Liquor Group, which got me to the place I am now, really, through a whole bunch of other channels, but it opened my eyes up to digital marketing and how epic it is. And now here I am. I run a digital marketing agency called Double Tap. We're also based on the Northern Beaches, have a small team behind us, and I also have a co-working space called The Loft.
Geez, it's a bit of a circle, isn't it? From chiropractic to Woolworths Liquor to Double Tap.
Yeah, look, I realised it's a funny story. It's actually quite weird. Once I got into chiropractics, I loved the theory of it. But then when they actually got me to do the practical, I was like, yeah, no, look, I'm not really one for touching human beings. I don't really. It's not for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I could imagine on some things like that, you wouldn't walk in and go, actually, no, I think you can see someone else. I'll give you a miss.
Fully, that's kind of how it went.
Yes. So how did you start in the social media industry?
Okay, so at Woolies, I was working across a number of digital brands there for their alcohol sector. So Woolies has a bunch of different online websites that aren't just like your Dan Murphy's. And then I also worked across Dan Murphy's. And whilst working there, it was when digital was really taking off. And they threw me in the deep end and was like, learn this social media business. We need to be across it. We need to be amongst it. So that's where I started. And from there, I just saw the potential, particularly in the liquor industry, to reach millions of people with the click of a button. And then from there, I moved and was working for a business called One Teaspoon. So they specialize in denim. And I was head of digital marketing there, and that's where it opened my eyes up to, holy moly, there are millions of young girls online buying off the back of the content that I'm posting. So I dived deeper into it, and I'm obsessed with it, really.
And how long has that been? How long have you been doing that for? The digital marketing?
I started. It would be 9 years now.
Okay.
So when I was at Dan's, Instagram launched. Prior to that, it was Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be pretty crazy when you said there's millions of young girls out there buying products just because of your content. And we've mentioned in previous podcasts that Clayton and I both got daughters, and they just buy online. There's a package, they get a knock on the door, and there's a package where we're more touchy-feely and want to go into the store and try it on and that type of thing. But, yeah, it's all just done online. My daughter works here, and numerous times a week that the postie comes in and I got a package, and you just
we're on chatting terms. Stand out the front. There's that parcels arriving.
Yeah, it's quite amazing that how it's done these days. It's just click of the button and it arrives the next day, sometimes the same day.
Well, when I was at One Teaspoon particularly, given that the demographic is the younger demographic, so anywhere from 18 to maybe 40 were purchasing One Teaspoon denim. And what we really leveraged there was the influencer marketing, particularly because of the style of product. But also what we really focused on was being the most engaging platform that we could possibly be. And by doing that, it actually saw our account be ranked number 1 globally for engagement in the denim industry. So that's beating out the likes of Diesel,
Levi's.
Blue, Levi's, and we were just a small Australian denim company. It's just that we really, really engaged with our audience.
Wow. That's a good effort, isn't it?
Claim to fame, yes.
Absolutely.
So tell us about Double Tap Agency. How did you start, and number of employees? What do you exactly do there?
Okay, so when I was at OT, I saw that I was constantly having to engage with a number of different agencies. So if I wanted my AdWords done, I'd have to liaise with this agency. If I wanted the website updated, a different agency.
Geez, this sounds familiar to us, doesn't it?
We've sort of just been
through
this
sounds familiar
process
to us.
with our website.
Go on, sorry to interrupt.
I personally hate admin, and I communication, I'm just not about it. Like one email, dot points, I'm done. I don't need to be going to a million different people. So I saw that there was a hole in the market as such when it comes to having one point of contact that does everything in the digital space. And that's when I went, right, I love this job. It's amazing, but I'm throwing in the towel and I'm going to start my own digital marketing agency, and I'm going to do all of those functions myself. And from there, we grew into having a team. So I've got 2 contractors that work externally. So one's in Brisbane, one's in Melbourne. And then I have an in-house team now of 4, graphic designer, 2 account managers, 3 account managers, and then there's me.
So, Sammi, companies and brands can come to you, your company called Double Tap, and you can look after their social media and marketing.
Yeah, we can look after everything to do with your digital funnel. So anywhere from Google AdWords, email marketing, social media management, paid advertising. We also website builds, website design. We also have a whole graphic design channel as well. So if you need your branding done, you need content tiles for social media, and we do photography.
Wow.
The whole lot.
You've got it covered.
We do have it covered. And over time, that's taken shape as well. Like I focused initially on the social media aspect and the email marketing aspect. And then from there we grew. I already, given the jobs that I was in before, had a really good understanding of all of the platforms. So I could run my own Google ads and I could do all of those things.
Yeah.
And over time, I just started to outsource as we got bigger.
I guess it depends also the client that comes to you and has different requirements or different demands, whether you can, hey, we can look after that and we can take care of that, or we can advise you at this avenue and so forth. So I guess that's what grows your business on that side of things as well.
Yeah, totally.
And how many clients do you, of those, like how many current clients do you look after doing all that at the moment with your team?
So it really depends on the channel, because like for websites, for example, once the job's done, the job can tend to be done. But when it comes to ongoing accounts that we manage on a daily basis, across the channels, probably 30.
Okay. That'll keep you busy.
Keeps us busy. So I do more, personally, I do all the consultations, the workshops, the strategy and the planning, and then the team does the execution.
Yeah.
A really nice process happening there. I'm not really, I'm kind of done with the doing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down and nutting it out and like back and forth kind of banter on how do we get the best marketing strategy in place.
Delegate to everyone, saying this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah. And then come back to me if I haven't made any sense.
When did you start Double Tap?
Double Tap just turned 4. So
Okay.
we turned 4 so we're still a baby, still lots of growing to be done. And we've actually scaled back. So during COVID, we just took on anyone and everyone that we possibly could. One, I wanted to help as many people as I could. And 2, I saw, well, I'm not really one to say no to someone coming our way. But after that, I realized that I'd really stretched the team too far. I felt that we were kind of like just running and a little bit drowning because there was just so much work. And I just went, pull the pin. Let's just see who we're dealing with. Let's scale it back. We might need to lose some clients along the way. But I feel like don't have the time to give.
So, Sammi, did you see, with COVID, did you see an increase on businesses reaching out to you?
Oh, my Lord. It was like in 24 hours, my inbox was just inundated with people reaching out from simple things like, we need 10 photos for our Instagram because we need to tell people that we're open still. Or, hey, we need our homepage updated on the website because we need to let everyone know that we're closed.
Yeah.
Or it came down to, we don't have any digital presence at all. What the shit are we doing and how do we do it?
I guess 2 things there. Us particularly, we ramped it up, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ramped it up at that time as well. But I guess it gave companies time, or they had time at the moment to say, sort of look back and say, oh, well, shit, hang on a minute. We need to be better on this. We've got our time, so let's start and do some work on our digital presence. So yeah, you're probably, and every other companies were probably reaching out looking for an edge. But I can guarantee you, the social media, we ramped it up, and it made a big difference, didn't it, mate?
Yeah, certainly.
For us,
I was actually dumbfounded as to how many businesses, particularly locally, didn't have a digital presence at all. It might be that they have, particularly restaurants, they might have a Zomato listing where someone's like screenshotted the menu and uploaded it and entered some data. But other than that, they barely had anything.
Yeah.
So when this hit, they didn't know where to go or what to do, and they were very much back to the very, very beginning in the space. I had no idea how many businesses didn't have a digital presence. And then the other thing that came about was everyone had so much time on their hands to a point that the creative juices were flowing, and we would have people calling us at all times of the day, just being like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do it now.
Yeah.
We thought about this. It's like, well, hang on, let's put a plan in place here, because that's probably not going to work ongoing if we keep just having these epiphanies mid-afternoon that we need to execute.
It's interesting where you said about the restaurants there. That'd be some sort of, and I know they were closed and they had takeaway stuff and that type of thing, but that'd be some, like the industry that could have so much content to put on their Facebook and to put on their Instagram every day of, hey, this is the chef, or this is the head waitress or the waiter, this is our new menu, or this is a new thing that we're trying. Every day they could release something.
The menu varieties are unbelievable, but on any restaurant there, they could be updating all the time.
Yeah.
What we found during this time is that there were so many restaurants that had so much that they could offer the market, particularly when it came to their food or even just their location. And then a few restaurants locally, they did things like pop-up bars outside, takeaway, and all of this. And they didn't have anyone, because they were so hands-on producing the food, or because the staff had to be cut back, that they couldn't get the content. So then we launched a little side bit to our offer, our management packages called real-time content creation. So what that meant is we sent a team member out to those locations, particularly restaurants, and gyms even, to create the content while the business owner is hands-on, so that they then had the content to post on their social media.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. I'm sure the staff loved that part of going out to the restaurant to take the photos and taste test the meals and that type of thing as well.
Well, they would have had, before with those sort of restaurants where it would have been word of mouth or just in the local area, all of a sudden they had to tap into a new market or find new people, find new customers.
Yeah, and look, I live in Newport on the Northern Beaches, and it's still a pretty small town, really localized environment here. So a lot of the restaurants are not even on the likes of the Uber Eats and that, because they just simply don't have to be.
No.
Then when COVID hit,
They all had to be.
Yeah, and then they didn't really necessarily need the fees that come with being on those platforms either. So they were coming to us with asking, how can we get around it? How are we going to be able to post online and get people to come to our front door?
So what are the biggest changes that you've seen in the industry since your time have been in it?
Wow. Great question. So a lot. I mean, it's definite. Okay, so organic growth, particularly on the social platforms, has slowed down. You need to have an edge on the market or on your competitors to really grow organically. And you need to be very dynamic. So if the platform launches a new feature, you need to jump on it and be active on it, because what happens is the platforms promote that feature or anyone using it, and that's how you can help your organic growth. When I started in the industry, accounts booming because, again, Instagram and Facebook wanted people on the platform, so they promoted accounts. The other thing I've noticed is just consumer behavior. So obviously back when social media particularly started, there was really no function to check out. There was no shopping. It was more a social platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just about to say the same thing. I bet you when Facebook and Instagram, the creators of that, they would have never thought of any online selling or advertising from that. It was just an actual social, hey, look what Sammy's doing or look what Drew's doing and so forth. You know what I mean? It would have been the advertising or the selling on that would have never, and that's the biggest part of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dollars moving through the platforms is insane. But again, even that side of things has really changed. Consumer behavior and where they shop. They're still obviously extremely active on Facebook when it comes to shopping, but it depends on the demographic as to where they're going to check out. The young demographic are highly engaged on Instagram and the shopping profile on that platform, whereas the slightly older demographic are extremely engaged on Facebook. So no matter you fall into the marketplace is how you're going to use the channels.
Yeah. One of my daughters, my youngest daughter the other day, so I said something about Facebook and she said, Facebook's for oldies.
Oh, I mean, it's funny you say that. My mum is so engaged on Facebook.
Our mum's so engaged.
I've actually, I've had to put her on silent because, everything you put up, it gets a comment or a like or whatnot, but you're like, okay.
It's like they've got an alert on
Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly right. So with the biggest changes, what's the biggest challenges you face?
I personally have found that being an expert in my field, staying on top of what's going on is extremely challenging. Knowing what's coming next, predicting what the next updates are going to be, watching all the platforms. Now there's so many platforms that people are active on. And what are they doing? And the shift in how people operate. That's probably the most challenging. And I think that for businesses, what happens then is if I'm looking at it every day, of course, businesses are not on top of it.
Yeah.
And they might be spending their money over here on this platform, but they should really be now spending it over here. That's probably definitely one of the big challenges.
I could imagine, as you said, sort of 9 years ago when you first started, Dan Murphy's Instagram had just launched, but now we've got Snapchat and TikTok and the list is endless. I don't know how you obviously do it to understand how they all work and what's best for when the business comes in and says, we need to do this. And you go, well, actually, you should be on Facebook and TikTok and not Instagram and things like that. It'd be, I couldn't imagine how to do it.
So here's a question, Sammy, without notice. What is the next bit? Put the pressure on. What is the next big thing on social media?
Well, I think videos, personally, I could be totally wrong here, so we'll have to check back in. But video is definitely on the rise.
Yes.
Video and like virtual reality, I think, is going to come into play somewhere in the field. I'm not sure how or where, but I think that it's definitely something to look at.
Yeah.
I've just spent the weekend with my cousin. She's 15, and I was just, my mind was blown at the video side of things. She spent the whole time creating videos. And then how she used them, how she spoke to her friends even. There was no texting.
No, it's all.
There was no calling. It was
I've got
all
a
video.
So my youngest daughter's 16, and it's the same thing. It's of a night time. There's on the laptop. There's 2 or 3 kids of the same age, all in conversation. There's no texting, like you said. There's no texting, no phone, and everything's filmed. Every conversation or everything that you're doing, it's always on. She always films it.
I agree. And I think there's going to be, well, I'm more hoping than thinking that it'll move more into real time as well. Like none of this pre-edited, cleaning it up. People are happy to be raw now. We don't necessarily need filters. We don't need any of those things. And I think people are starting to understand that. And I think that we're going to see more content off the back of that, given that people aren't spending as much playing around.
Well, even so, nowadays with those YouTube creators, like they're worth a gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
You'd sort of say to the kids, sort of go to school and get that done, but learn how to edit and film videos and do all this thing, because that's where it is. Like even kids now are filming themselves playing Fortnite and NBA 2K and putting up, and they're getting millions of views. Yeah. And then sponsors are jumping on the back of that. Like
there's my girls are talking about different YouTubers and so forth, and some of them they went. Some I couldn't tell you who they were. They went to school with and so forth. Oh, this kid's a YouTuber, a famous YouTuber. I've never heard of the kid in my life, but I said, what do they do? They're YouTubers, Dad. They're YouTubers, right? But what do they do for work though? Like, how's that a real job?
Yeah, well, it is these days. So I was talking about this with one of the girls that works for me. She's just finishing up her degree, and she's a part of her course at Sydney Uni is learning social media. I was like, I did a marketing degree. There was no digital in my degree, none. I know. It's amazing. Like they're incorporating a lot of these things into just your standard degree now.
So going with Double Tap, how do you advertise or get new clients on board?
Yeah. So look, we've been pretty lucky to date that our clients have the majority of them have come from referral. I also love a good networking.
Yes.
I don't know, it just comes naturally. I just live for it. But given we have dabbled in the paid advertising space, but we don't anymore. So we get our clients through referral and then through our Instagram account. It's pretty much how we go.
That's that's tremendous, and I guess the proof is in the pudding by what you do, and then getting the clientele from actually what you do. So it's a good way to run. I think
people often forget referral. We focus so heavily on digital and paid advertising, and I love all of those, but they're one part of the giant picture. You still need to be in, like, focus on referrals. Do you need a referral program? How does that referral program fit in with your holistic marketing strategy? I think that if there's a huge piece there that's often missed.
So what do you put your success down to?
Hard work. I think that I've been blessed with the love of working. I genuinely love working. I love helping other people work. So I often get told that I need to shut my computer and sit down and relax. But that's just not who I am. I'll work for all hours of the day and I'll get my hands dirty. And I think that's why we're in a place that I'm proud of, because I have hustled to get to where we are.
That's good. That's the sort of attitude that you need, because it's like a bank account. You've got to put in before you can take out. So that's a good attitude to have in business.
Yeah. And like I do sometimes overdo it, and I do like not put my laptop down, and I do need people to tell me, Sammi, relax, girlfriend. But overall, I think that business is hard work. You've got to hustle.
Yep. Agree.
You certainly do, and you got to be out there all the time. We call it flying the flag. So we're sort of knocking on doors or networking or putting stuff up on social media to let people know we're still here.
And social media has now, Sammi, allowed that where you can work around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Which is actually
it's not necessarily
scary.
9 to 5. Your old hours, 9 to 5. You can actually all hours of the day. I'm the same. I work in all hours of the day.
Totally. So anyone can contact you at any time.
Correct.
And you need to be able, within reason, to respond to that and give that person the attention that they need, because ultimately there are other options. There are other avenues you can go down, because, again, they just another click of the button and they'll reach out to someone else.
Yeah, we have inquiries and on our webpage and so forth, the lead generation where people can inquire. And you would be surprised at the hours of the day that we get inquiries, like night times, 1 o'clock in the morning, we get inquiries.
1 a.m. seems to be a hot spot for people needing to contact people. I often go into the office and check everything, and I'm getting emails or Instagram messages at 1 a.m.
Yeah. Same thing.
No one sleep.
Yeah. This may you may have already answered this next question, but away from work, how do you relax?
I love the beach. I love it. The ocean. I often just okay. So I just did a blog article on this recently. Actually, I'm like all in or all out.
Yeah.
I'm 100 miles an hour. You can't stop me. Or I go completely recluse underground. You won't hear from me. So when we want to relax, I have a caravan down south. You'll often find me there with my dog down the beach, just zoning out.
Whereabouts down south, Sammi?
Lake Tabourie, which is like just outside Ulladulla.
Yeah. Good
Very
spot.
Nice. Very nice spot.
Great
Then.
part of the world down there.
It is fantastic. South Coast, nothing better. Good beaches.
Good people, great food.
Lovely.
So if you could give one piece of advice or a tip to a small business, which our podcast usually goes out to, regarding doing their own social media or building their brand, what would it be?
Strategy and planning. Don't just get online and post content. It's not the best way to go about it. Think about what you want to say, think about who you're speaking to, and think about the content you're going to put out. Put a little plan together, and you'll find that the process is so much easier and it's not overwhelming.
Do you find that your team, so they put something together and then they might leave it for an hour and then go back to it because it's like, oh yeah, let's do it this way. It looks great. And then after an hour, they've had a coffee and done something else and then come back and go, oh, actually,
we should have changed that.
Should do it this way.
Yes, all the time. What we do is we work up to a month in advance for our clients. So it allows for us time to plan, put the content together, step away from it, work on another client, and come back to it, because we often have new ideas or something will come up and we'll go, oh, no, let's tweak that piece of content so that it's in line with that. And again, it makes everyone's life, business life, working life, so much easier.
That does make sense. Now, to end our podcast, we ask our 5 fast questions to get to know you a little bit better. So they're just rapid fire. Your favourite holiday destination?
I'm going to say Canggu, Bali.
Bali.
Okay.
Haven't had that one.
Yeah.
No, we haven't had Bali before, so you'd probably be hanging for the borders to open and get back there.
Yeah, I often go, and again, one of those moments where I'm a recluse and I turn my phone off, no internet, and you won't see me for a month, and that's my hideout.
Wow.
Now your secret's out of the bag, so there'll be clients flying to Bali to come and track you down. What would be your last meal?
Oh, nachos.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't beat a good nachos. It's,
Heaps of guacamole.
okay. You'd be paying through the nose too, because I think the price of the avocados are about $6 each now. What is one of your weird quirks?
I talk to myself all day out loud.
Out loud?
Out loud.
Do you answer yourself back?
Sometimes.
Wow.
I'm nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fair amount of head noise.
Yeah, that just makes me sound a bit crazy, but I need to just hash it out.
I sometimes get caught talking to myself. Like I'll go into the petrol station and pay for the petrol, and someone will say something, and I walk back to the car and I'm sort of reliving the moment, or I should have said this and I should have said that, and I'm talking to myself, and the kids are in the car actually laughing, going, "Look at this idiot talking to himself."
Look at this imbecile.
Yes. What colour is your toothbrush?
Black.
Black. Okay.
It's an electric one, the black and white.
Yep.
And finally, if heaven does exist, what would God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oof. What on earth are you doing here? I don't know. I might not go there. I don't know. That's a great. I actually have no idea. Yeah.
I think what the hell are you doing here is suitable.
That is suitable.
Sammi, thank you very much for your time on the podcast. If people want to find you or Double Tap Agency, where can they find you?
Probably the easiest place to find us is at our Instagram account, so Double Tap Agency. And then from there, you've got all the links to everywhere else that you can find us.
And folks that are listening, I do follow Double Tap Agency on Instagram, and it's not only all about their stuff. They do put out some really good learnings for the average Joe like myself that you can apply to your own business or your own social media account to learn from and increase your reach amongst it.
We have borrowed some of your ideas, Sammi, or maybe plagiarised. I think it's plagiarised, it's called.
Hey, look, once it's online, free reign. It's all yours.
But no, Sammi, we do appreciate your time. You should be extremely proud of what you have achieved in 4 short years with Double Tap, and wish you nothing but success in the future.
Thanks, guys. I've really enjoyed this. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Sammi. All the best.
Ciao.
Thanks, Sammi. Bye. That wraps up the 31st episode and our chat with Sammi Hardwick, founder and director of Double Tap Agency. For more information on Double Tap, you can visit their website, www.doubletapagency.com.au, or follow them on Instagram, search Double Tap Agency, or you can book your free consultation and mini strategy call with Sammi. Over a quick 20-minute chat, Sammi will get an understanding of where you're at, where you want to go, and how Double Tap Agency can help you on your way. If you have missed any previous episodes of the KRGS Doors podcast, you can download them from our website, www.krgsdoors.com.au/podcast, or on your favourite podcast player, search KRGS Doors. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any future episodes. This also boosts our ranking and my ego. The other thing I suggest, if you've enjoyed the podcast, visit your favourite podcast player and leave a review or a rating. On our next episode, we speak to Grant Hartley from Brand Local. Brand Local is helping businesses make informed marketing decisions. Grant is recognised as one of the world's leading authorities when it comes to Google. He has been a speaker with Google and local governments and was instrumental in setting up Google's trusted agency in Australia and New Zealand. So keep your eyes peeled for that upcoming episode. I've been your host, Drew Blackman, and you've been fantastic for tuning in today. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Thanks. Till next time. The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au.